Hey everyone, Sean Joel here from Elevation Leaders, where we help you 10x your business valuation. Going to talk to you today about a concept called willing to fail, WTF. I know that usually stands for something else. Got this idea from Brian Scudamore, who started 1-800-GOT-JUNK. He actually wrote a book called WTF, Willing to Fail. And he really brought this concept to life in his organization, where he gave people the opportunity to share all the failures that they had. And he wanted the team to learn from those failures and say, okay, what can we actually take from this and be better as an organization and be better as individuals? Now, I've given this a lot of thought, and there are a tremendous amount of gurus out there and leadership speakers that will say failure is great, you need to fail and you need to learn from that. The reality is that, yes, we get to learn a lot from failure, but failure itself is not fun, right? None of us actually want to experience failure. It's not like we wake up on Monday morning saying to ourselves, I really hope I'm going to fail today. And when those failures happen, it's really tough to deal with. So I'm going to give you a story that happened in my life recently. I was working with a client, a newer client who was actually quite important to me, and they decided to stop the coaching after only 4 months together. Typically, I like to work with clients for about a year, and they stopped after 4 months. And they had a few different reasons, commitment issues and feeling like maybe it wasn't the right direction to take. But I can't help but feel and take this personally, because I represent my coaching practice, and when a client decides to stop, it really hits hard because there's a sensitive part feeling like I got rejected, not just my coaching practice. So there's a few tips that I want to talk to you about on failure and how I think we should really handle it moving forward, because the reality is that you're not going to be enjoying it at the moment. Of course, months, weeks, years, whatever it is down the line, you may come to digest it and accept it and look back and say, oh, that was really great. It was an amazing lesson learned. But I can tell you that when it happens on the spot, it's going to be really, really tough. So tip number one is, when you do go through a failure, whether it's really big or whether it's small, give yourself time to really, really feel the emotions that come with that failure. I was someone who was taught by my father not to really feel emotions. It was seen as a weakness. And a lot of men of my generation have been taught that. And I've learned now that it's really not the right way of going about things. I think it's really important to feel those emotions. You can download the emotions wheel and see all those different emotions and actually label how you feel. It could be disappointment, it could be frustration, it could be anger, it could be sadness. Whatever those emotions you feel when you go through a failure, accept it, take them in, make sure you feel them, go through those emotions, and that'll be the first step into getting past those feelings, okay? Number two, once you've had time to really digest those emotions, then take the time to look back and say, what could have been done differently? What could I have done better? Okay, I think at that point, it really becomes a battle of wits and wills and really understanding, okay, could I have done something completely differently in this situation? What have I learned from this lesson? What will I make sure moving forward I don't replicate? What are the things I'll improve? And I always encourage you to push on your strengths and not worry too much about your weaknesses. So that would be the next step that I think is really important. I would really encourage you to write it down as well, because I think it's a lot easier when you're writing down the way you have your lessons learned, and you can go back to them into time at that point and really understand where it is. And then number three is making peace with that failure. So a lot of times people have failures, but they linger and they last and they bring down your confidence and they just stick around forever. It's really important to take on more of a Buddhist/Stoic philosophy on this. Detach yourself from the failure. That failure is not who you are. It's something that happened, and you need to separate it from your actual personal self, because it's really important not to tie in our failures into defining who we are as individuals. So once you've really experienced the emotions, you've had the time to take down the lessons, write them, then it's time to literally detach yourself from that failure, ensure you understand this is not who you are, and move on to the next step. Because in life, what will be the most successful is literally moving on to our next projects, to our next opportunities, and those will come if we bring the right attitude to it. You do not want to be weighed down by something that happened in the past. So I hope that's been helpful. I have a few really good resources for you in the newsletter this week, but do check them out. The book from Brian Scudamore is really fantastic, Willing to Fail, WTF, and just ask yourself, are you actually someone who is willing to fail? Are you able to handle it? Are you able to digest it? Are you able to feel those emotions, move on, learn lessons, detach yourself, and get to the next step? It is a very important quality in life that I think most of the more successful people have learned to harness and to use as a superpower. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Always available if you have any questions, and please do share if you have other people you think would enjoy it. Thanks and have a great day.